eaters. That is something to rethink, those that keep associated with them. But the good news is...
If you're just joining in, you're welcome. This is Good Morning Uganda on UBC TV, always here to inspire you, coming to you live from the Nile Avenue. And if you started the show with us, thank you very much. And thank you for choosing to be inspired. Now, PLA results of the class 2025 were released at the end of last month. That was on Friday, the 30th of January. And so far, of course, as the results were released, the performance, as expected, dropped slightly. Now, the statistics are in there, which I'll be reading to you as the show goes on. But it's important for you to know that enrollment in primary school altogether stands at 11,700,000 learners altogether as of 2025. And that accounts for also UPE schools in there, but 9,077,1% of these schools are UPE schools. That is at 32.9% are private schools. And the performance rate also did drop highly, especially when it comes to social studies. Aggregate 4 scores remained exceptionally rare, largely in the most parts of Uganda, and this is attributed indeed to the weaker performances, especially in SST, while the English studies had high performances. So we're going to chew on this conversation with the head teacher of Kampala City Grammar Nursery and Primary School, that is Mr. Senabulia Francis. But we don't discuss this alone. I know you have questions, you have opinions, you have ideas, or what you've set your mind on. Do share 0709602592. Good morning, Mr. Senabulia.
Thank you. Good morning, ma'am. How are you?
Very well, thank you. A pleasure having you this morning.
Thank you. It's nice being here too.
Right. Yeah. And of course, we can't start off without asking how Kampala City Grammar fared.
Kampala State Grammar did very well, and we are very happy with the results. We sat 39 students, and out of those, 28 got first division, 10 got second division, and 1 got third division. That was very good performance, and we are very excited about it.
How do you feel as a school? What achievement 3 years down the road?
Yeah, we feel very happy because the performance, as we have just highlighted, nationally dropped, and to see that we are able to get the first grade that we are able to get, we're very excited, and we thank God and we thank all the key players that have enabled us to get those results for our candidates last year.
In your perspective, especially as a head teacher at the school, what do you think attributed to this good performance at your school? Yeah,
there are quite a number of factors that contributed to the good performance of our candidates. One of them comes from the candidates themselves. The candidates are very, very committed. They knew what they were after. They were disciplined children. And you know, a disciplined child is able to learn.
That's true.
Yeah, so they were really committed to their work. Then we had a very strong team of teachers. Teachers were committed also to their work, teachers who knew what they were doing. We had some teachers also who were examiners. They had the experience and exposure on how you mark the examination. We are not supposed to say this, but we have some of them who go to mark, just like other schools. And we had cooperative parents. The parents were very cooperative. They would bring the children when we need them. And by the way, we are day and boarding primary school. And all our P7, I think we had only 2 candidates who are coming from outside. The majority of them were residents in the school, and this one gave us more time to deal with them and talk to them, give them the practice that they needed so that they are able to attain what they were able to attain. Then we have a very cooperative and supportive school management committee together with the directors of the school. They're very committed to seeing their school growing, and this we're very happy about their support. Then the community, because if the community is not supportive, then the school is found in a community, and if the community is supportive, it means that you are going to be able to go through your work very well with the support of the community, yes.
Right. Now let's look at the statistics in general of this year's PLE. Rather 2025's PLE, not this year, because we're already into a new year. But looking at those that got Division 1, 91,900 candidates, pardon me, 91,990 candidates scored in Division 1. And Division 2 had 388,293 candidates. Division 3 had 165,226 candidates. And Division 4 had 84,724 candidates in there. Now, compared to 2024, 7,503 more candidates passed last year, that is 2025, with an additional of 7,689 students achieving a Division 1. This definitely highlights an upward
trend
in in the performance.
Yes.
But when we get to splitting them as to males and females, more girls passed PLE. That's at 380,264 girls than the boys. That is at 349,969 pupils. These statistics are in absolute numbers.
Yeah.
Girls passed more than the boys. Now, when we get to outperforming in Division 1, the boys outperformed the girls.
Yes.
And for instance, 48,220 boys, that's at 12.54%, secured Division 1, compared to the girls who had a 43,770 girls, bringing it to a 10.35%. What do you make of these statistics?
Well, it depends on the enrollment of schools and the gender of the schools. You find that normally the girls tend to achieve more or to outperform the boys normally. But you also find that there are schools where the boys are really doing very, very well. In my school, because of the gender, you find that we have more girls than the boys. The number is slightly the same, but for the candidates that we sat, we had more girls than the boys. And that means they performed a lot better than the boys by the numbers. So the numbers they are, I don't remember what statistics you had nationally for the girls who sat.
The girls are at about 52.4.
Yeah, 52.2. That means they're outnumbering the boys. Yes. So that gives a broader spectrum of them to perform better than the boys, because the space where they are sampling from is slightly bigger than the boys. But that is not, it shouldn't be the case, because the percentage does not actually mean that those who are more definitely achieve more academically. But I think the girls concentrate a little bit more, especially in the English language and social studies, and you find that the boys perform better in mathematics than the girls. And science also, the boys perform better than the girls.
Very profound at that. I look forward to, and I would ask you this as an educator for the long time you've been in this field, why do you think it's easier, or it's always on record, that the boys tend to perform well with these science subjects than the girls? What could the reason be?
It may not be scientific, but generally you find that the girls have a phobia of the subject. You find that when you talk about mathematics, they get very scared and they imagine that it's a boys' subject. But in schools where you have the gender of girls alone, you find that they are doing it, so which means that it's not a subject for only boys to pass. But it's the encouragement, I think, the teachers and the parents give to the children to make sure that they are getting mathematics as any other subject, so that they see it like any other subject. I always tell my students that mathematics is the easiest subject, because you will not change the methods of work in mathematics, like the operations of mathematics. They will never change. Plus is plus, minus is minus. So if you can be able to understand that the operations are like this, that means you are able to do 100 and more numbers, instead of other subjects where you have to do a lot of reasoning where things change. When you talk about SST, you need to remember the Semeika Kunguru. I always use that as an illustration of what I actually want to explain to them. So you find that the girls generally have that fear of the subject. And sometimes it's contributed by the parents themselves. Some parents, the language they use to their children is discouraging. They say, even me when I was at school, I found mathematics very difficult. So it makes them get a natural fear of the subject right from the people who would have encouraged them. But mathematics is a subject, and the children can be able to do it very well, irrespective of their gender.
Looking at the statistics of the candidates that sat PLE last year, 817,883 of them sat PLE, which was an increase from 2024. 2024 had 797,444 students sit for PLE. What do you think attributed to this increase in number of pupils who sat for PLE?
I think it's the retention. The retention of children in school increased, which means that even the candidates, the candidate class, had a bigger number than the previous years. If you get many children dropping out along the way, it means that at the apex, at the end of the journey, you are going to have less candidates registering for the PLE examination. But if we have the children staying in school, it means that we are going to get bigger numbers sitting for the primary living examinations. And I think this year, or rather last year, we had a bigger retention as compared to the previous years. So that's why most candidates were registered for primary living examinations.
Right, and speaking of retention, that speaks definitely into school dropouts.
Yes.
What do you think has led to the reduction of school dropout numbers as the years go by?
There are quite a number of factors of children dropping out of school. By the way, some of these children don't drop out of school per se. Some of them change location.
Right.
And we take it with a blanket cover that they have dropped out. Some of them change, they move out of the country. We have had a very big number of Sudanese registering in our schools. And if they change and they go back to their countries, people coming from Tanzania and they go back, those numbers drop, and on the surface you may think that the children dropped out of school. But to talk exclusively about our country, there are a number of factors that affect our children not to complete the cycle, and one of them is the ability for the parents to retain these children in school. There are quite a number of parents who are incapacitated in terms of raising school fees for their children. So they opt to stop the children along the way, and they say, I don't have money. You get out. When they get to middle primary or somewhere, they pull out the children. Then there are those children in some areas who drop out because they go and start working, especially in places where we have fisheries. Children go to start fishing. You find that children now are involved in petty marketing. You find them and they're selling items along the street, and they're not going to school because they're the breadwinners of their homes. So you find that they are out there to do business at that early stage. There is one time when I was coming from Makerere University, and I found very small girls in Wandegear. And I told these girls that if I find you tomorrow, they were selling maize and bananas. I told them, if I find you tomorrow, I'm going to take you, because I had a conversation and the lights were still red. And they were telling me they were not going to school because they were looking for school fees by selling the bananas and the maize. Then I told them that if I find you tomorrow, I'm going to take you to my home. Of course, I was just joking with them, because the following day I didn't go to Makerere. So you find that there are some children who are out there and they are the breadwinners of their homes. They go to work even during the day, not only at night, so that they can be able to get something for their families. So these ones drop out of school and they don't continue with education. Then we have performance. We have those children who may not excel, and either they repeat the classes, and eventually they lose the interest because they are not achievers. They look at themselves as failures. So they pull out of school, and that one also contributes to the falling out of the children from school. Then we have a very small percentage of children who may fall out of school because of sickness. Some children may get sick and they are not able to complete the cycle, and the parents don't bother to take them back to school when they get better.
Right.
Yes.
Good morning, Uganda. I'd like to congratulate all the 2025 PLE candidates upon their results, and in particular, all right, candidates of parental care nursery and primary school Bushenyi for their excellent performances. All the best, and thank you to the school management. This is Edson Mohanje in Entebbe. Thank you, Edson, for being on the show. We're looking at the PLE results 2025 and the performance lessons and the way forward. Now, speaking of which, aggregate 4s were largely rare in most countries, most parts of the country, yes. And if you look at some of the results in Kampala, the A-lister schools, the ones that are known all over the place to garner those 4s every now and again, actually have zero 4s.
Yes.
And when you go to districts, Wakiso, it's where you're finding the 4s. Mukono, it's where you're finding the 4s. What do you think caused this time around?
To me, having lesser 4s is very normal. And I think that is a normal trend. Because when you plot the graph, the plot of distribution of performance, it should be a normal curve where you have those who excel being very small in number, and those ones who fail being very small in number. The biggest number should be in the normal distribution, should be in the middle there. So to have very few 4s is very normal to me.
Right.
It's
And I'm glad you're saying that, because this comes with a lot of pressure. But I also noticed that I think it's also the root cause of a lot of corruption within the schools.
Because everybody is eyeing a 4.
Yes, so schools are getting into exam malpractice. They're teaching young children to cheat exams in the name of having 4s, which is... Good morning, UBC. Good morning, Julie. Good morning, Uganda. It's me, Isaac Wanzala, as you're here in West Nile. Congratulations to all P7 graduates. I think pay rise and timely pay to the teachers should also be looked at, so that to demonstrations and absenteeism amongst teachers is reduced. As we begin to roll this conversation out, let's speak into teacher absenteeism. Speak of it from a 360-degree angle, because the fact is, and indeed the Minister of Primary Education also addressed it the day the results were being released. She said the rate of teacher absenteeism is high in schools, and it's a contributant to the failures we see, the failing numbers, yes.
This could be true, I think, with government institutions.
Right.
Because we can attribute it to maybe the pay. I don't know, but it could be the pay or something else. But you find that in private institutions where I am, it's very, very difficult to find a teacher being absent from school. And I think it's because the monitoring of these teachers is closer to them. It's a private school. The management and controlling of the business of the school is very, very close. But the teachers, when they look at the district education officer who is a distance away, and I'm sorry to say, and the head teacher is an absentee teacher, then you find that the absenteeism of teachers is going to be very high. So it is a practice which I could say is common in public schools, and for private schools I haven't had this, because you're absent, you're fired.
You lose the job.
You lose the job.
Thank you very much, Mr. Senavlia, for giving us time this morning. Your parting shots, especially two-way to the education sector, parents, teachers, and Ministry of Education, but also to all stakeholders of Kampala City Grammar.
Thank you.
Right. Your parting shots in that regard, on those two ends.
Sorry, you want me to...
So to give your parting shots to stakeholders of Kampala City Grammar, and then your parting shots to all stakeholders in the education sector.
Yes, I think I'm going to start by thanking the the candidates.
Right.
Our candidates who start last academic year. We would like to congratulate them and would like to thank them for the good work they did that raised our flag to the level that we are. And I'd like to also thank the management committee, especially the directors. They pay us on time.
All right.
And they are very supportive. They are always in the school to see what is happening. They are inquisitive. They want to find out how are we progressing. And this is a very big contributing factor to the success of any school. So I'd like to thank them very much for the support that they have given us. Would like to also thank our parents because they have also been very, very supportive, because the absence of parents or the parents failing to pay the fees for the learners so that they are not interrupted at school is very great. So we'd like to thank them also for their support. And I don't remember whether I thank the staff. The staff also have contributed a great deal. They are very committed teachers, and their presence in school and making sure that they prepare very well. They have their schemes of work. They are researchful. They move with a trend of assessment of learners, the benchmarking with schools that are doing very well so that we make good partnership is also a very good contributing factor to our success. And I also like to thank our partnering schools with whom we benchmark and we work together and see that we do excel. Indeed,
and that's very, very profound. At that, I'll close this with a comment, and it's to you, Mr. Senabria. Hello, good morning, UBC. Happy to see Mr. Senabria. He was my teacher 30 years back. Proud to still see him in the education field. You played a big role in my education, Sevo. May God richly bless you. I wish you had left your full name, but from what I can see on your WhatsApp, you are called Laura K. It's all that I can see. K. But Laura, thank you so much for getting in touch, and I'll definitely pass on the message if you leave your full name so that Mr. Senaulia can know who you are and feel proud as one who has left many footprints on the lives and hearts of many. That brings us to the end of our conversation this morning. Up next is JMU Tourism Express and Business. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala.
The active ingredient accelerates fat burning,